let me know when you're here. So that, wow, there's 3 people already. Say hi. Hey, Carrie. Sorry if I'm shaking you. I had to plug my phone in. Hello there. All right. I'm hoping that my camera angle is better today so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. I know that these guys are sideways, like they should be that way, but I do rotate a lot. So, let me know when you pop on. We're going to wait for a few people to get here. What are you guys doing this Sunday afternoon, evening, whatever it is where you're at? Do you turn your thing a lot when you color, Carrie? Hola, Michelle. ¿Cómo estás? Bet you didn't know I speak Spanish, huh? Ooh, gotta mute myself. So we're gonna color these cutesy little greeting farm kiddos. I'm drinking my coffee. Miss Amy, what's up? Oh my gosh, my post about the store. Bonjour. I don't speak French, so that's about all the French you're going to get from me, Carrie. Bonjour. I always did want to learn how to speak French, but my my mouth just does not wrap around the French words very well. I don't do so hot. All right. I don't know if it's just my mouth that doesn't wrap around the French words, or my brain, or both. A combination of both. Too funny. All right. So, I'm going to show you. I actually pulled, these are the stamp sets. So, this one is Magical Princess, I believe is what it's called. Yep, Magical Princess. So this is CC Designs Magical Princess, and I pulled this sweet little girl off of here. And hi Dawn, how are you? And then this is Adventure Prince. So Mr. Adventure Prince, and I pulled this little guy off of here. He's so cute. So I stamped them in my Memento ink, because I usually always use Memento ink, and I stamped them just in Memento Tuxedo Black for you guys. I usually do no lines coloring, but I decided that, you know, stamping them in black for the sake of the video would be a good thing. Hello and goodbye and counting to 10, because that's what they teach you at preschool. Well, hey, that's a pretty legit preschool then there. I went to school in Northern California, so we learned a lot of Spanish up there. And then I continued to take Spanish through and through. So, anyways, so these are the stamp sets that we're going to use. They are on sale in the store right now. Not on sale, but for sale in the store right now. Copic markers are on sale right now. If you buy 6, you get the 7th free. So, you will see I use 5 colors for most of my blends. Sometimes I use 6. So you can really get a good blend and stuff with utilizing that sale. It also works for the refills, and I would strongly suggest that if you're going to buy like a skin blend or something along those lines, that you get the refills for them, because you will continually use that skin blend over and over and over and over again. So let me start with sharing with you the skin blend that I'm going to use today. So I'm going to start by using the E000, followed by E00, followed by YR000, E11, and E04. I have a love-hate relationship with E04. I love it because it's a really, really, really great shadow color. But I hate it because sometimes it gets really sticky and tacky. So we will just have to see how it goes. Okay? Double OYR. Double OYR. Oh my gosh. I keep on having to reach over to my computer and close the what store would you get rid of thing, because it keeps popping up and covering my screen. I started a heated debate, and I didn't even mean to start a heated debate. It's kind of funny. So anyway, so this is my skin blend, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start, and if more people pop on, great, and all that good stuff. So let's start with coloring this little prince guy here, and I'm gonna set this down here. I know you probably can't see it because of the comments. Maybe I'll set it up here. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, so first and foremost, I start by taking both caps off of my pen. I usually always do this because when you take both caps off of your pen, you have more control over the ink flow. It'll equalize the pressure within the barrel of your marker. And so that makes it so that the ink will flow nice and evenly, and you won't get, you know, big drops and stuff. So that's why I like to do it. And I start by just putting a nice coat of E000. I just filled this, and it already looks like I need to fill it again. I probably didn't put enough in it. I put a nice coat of E000 all over everything that I'm gonna color. Reason being is I am using Copic Express-It paper, and I like to make sure that I'm starting with a nice even coat to saturate the paper, but not oversaturate it. So I'm moving into my E04. You will see that I did put the bullet nibs on my markers. That's the brush nib, and this is the bullet nib. I do have these on my skin blends, and again, I'm kind of in a love-hate relationship with them, to be honest. In some instances, I really love them, and in some instances, I really do not love them. So we will see. On basic images like this, it's great because it adds a nice thick line of shadow without you having to really think about it, and it does it quickly without oversaturating your paper. And I do apologize, I hold my marker really close to the nib. You don't ever want to touch the nib, but I do hold my marker really close to the nib, so a lot of the times you will just see my knuckle. I'm going to put a shadow on his nose, a little bit of shadow around his eyes because they are set in. And then we're going to add shadow around where his clothes would leave a shadow on his face. And we're going to move into the E11. Gotta find it on my screen. Now, I will kind of move into using the brush nibs when I go through my colors, because I like to soften that edge and make sure that my colors are blended so that it's not a harsh line. And with little creatures like this little boy, he's relatively simple, like line art wise. And I'm also not doing no lines. So it makes it easier for me to go in and actually do a second coat on these. So you will actually see me do a second coat. And you'll also notice that I'm not quite as careful and particular because I know I'm going to do a second coat. So it's easier for me. Paper is very, very, very important. I cannot stress to you enough the importance of the paper. So think about it like this. If you spend $7 per marker, $6 per marker, something like that, and 25 cents per sheet of paper, what's that gonna get you? Is a ruined marker. So you really, really, really need to take care of your investment, right? You want to take care of your marker investment. You know you're spending money on these markers. You know they are kind of expensive. That's just how Copic markers are, but they're also very worth it. So if you go for like the cheapest paper or, you know, just coloring on cardstock or something like that, you're going to end up, number one, ruining the nibs of your markers, but number two, you're going to also end up with like a hazy image. It's going to bleed out and those sorts of things. It won't accept the layers of ink very well. So what'll happen is you will do two things. I struggle with Neenah paper too. I really am not a huge fan of the Neenah paper. I do love it for my pencil coloring, but I'm not a big fan of it for my marker coloring. But it's all personal preference. I know it's definitely how you layer your markers and how you color in general. I'm kind of heavy-handed, so the Neenah paper doesn't work so well for me because it tends to bleed on me. I oversaturate it too fast. But the Copic paper holds a lot more ink, a lot more layers, so I tend to do a better job on the Copic paper. That was my E00. And now I will come in, as I throw my cap at myself, and just do a coat. And this is just to even everything out. Alright, so now our little dude is done, kind of, sort of, but I'm going to go back in and do a second coat. And you will see with this second coat how much deeper it's going to make the shadows. You just want to go in quick with the second coat. You don't want to let it dry in between because then you will lose your capability of blending. And you don't want to lose your capability of blending. So I'm not being uber careful. I'm just going around and adding those shadows back in where I really wanted them to be. I have him off the screen, sorry. I get stickiness when I use Copic paper. Any thoughts? Yes. Number one, you're probably letting it dry too much in between. And number two, you are, it's probably not the paper, it's probably your marker. So you need to either clean your nibs or replace your nibs or refill. The markers, when they start to dry out, tend to get a little bit sticky. And so you will need to refill your markers to prevent that from happening. Any other thoughts, Amy? Any other advice you can offer her? Amy's way more versed with her Copics than I am. So, I always ask others for advice and stuff too. Oh my gosh, there's so many people commenting on that. All right, now I'm into my YR00. And see how this just thickens? It really just adds to that shadow. And it makes that shadow so much darker and more vibrant. Just going over it a second time. And the key is you really don't want to oversaturate your paper. So you really want to be careful that you're laying down light layers of color and not going too crazy with how much ink you're laying on there. Nailed it. Pen is always the problem when it gets sticky. Yay! Yay, I did something right. Hooray! You guys know I'm a goober, right? You know I'm a total dork. Like, it's okay. I embrace my dorky side. Don't worry. You're not making fun of me when you call me a dork. I'm making fun of me when I call me a dork. All right. Then into my E000. And I just love how when you add that second coat, it really adds a richness and a deepness to that skin tone. A booger. Do you call me a booger? Yes, I will say that the Copic Express It, when you have a marker that's already sticky, the Express It is very much less forgiving. It almost repels that sticky, sorry, I gotta get my coffee. It almost repels that stinky ink and lets it layer up on top. And that is not okay. I am with Amy on that one for sure. Okay, I think our little prince here is gonna have some dark black hair. So, I'm going to use 100, W9, W7, W5, W3, and there's my 5 markers. Okay, so the reason I'm using W's, oh, you're having technical difficulties? That's not good, Kelly. The reason I use my W markers is that this is a warm gray, meaning it has a brown base. And a lot of people, I'm going to pull out, I have a color chart that I use. And hopefully it shows. Okay, so I don't have all of the grays, but I wanted to show you the difference. The C, see how it's cool? It has cool gray and it has like a blue base. The W's are a warm gray and they have a brown base. The T is a toner gray and it's more of like a true gray. It's not biased by a base color like that. What is the difference in the neutral gray, Amy? Do you have any of the N's? Between the N's and the T's, what's the difference with those ones? Because I don't have, obviously, any N's. But I do love that when you stack them up next to each other, you can really see the difference in them. So it's very cool to understand the difference between the warm grays and the neutral grays and the cool grays. So his hair, since, you know, he's not old, is not going to have a cool gray base to it. It's going to be warm. So I'm going to start with my 100 marker. And I'm sure you guys can hear my little dog barking. It is chow time at the Clark residence here. And yeah. So I'm going to turn him around because I tend to like to use my strokes away from me. Sometimes I will stroke towards myself. Ends are on the cool side too. They're just not quite as blue. Okay, perfect. So the neutral grays are a little more cool and then the toner grays are a little more warm. They just have more of a true gray base and not so much of the blue or the brown that goes to them. Okay, so his hat is definitely going to leave a shadow on his hair. So where his hat hits his hair is where we are going to want to do the darkest shadow. So I just start going and I let my wrist lift the pin for me. And I just start making these little brush movements. The point of this is not to have like perfect everything even. You want it to be uneven because it's hair. And so I just make these little motions. Some of them longer, some of them shorter. To make his hair. My tip on my 100 is very funky. It needs some love. I'm just adding where I think there would be some shadow or, you know, highlights or lowlights or whatever. But I do want to tell you that the most important thing when doing hair, and I think the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make, and the biggest mistake that I used to make myself, is not going with the flow of the hair. So the biggest thing I would say for people who are trying to really get the hair thing down is to make sure you're going with the way that the hair would lay. You can't just do straight lines because the hair doesn't actually lay that way. So you want to go with whatever direction the hair would actually be going. Ooh, yeah, you're right. I never do pencils and Copics together. Hi, Archie. That was actually Gizmo that was barking. Archie's more quiet when it's dinner time. Gizmo's the instigator. He's all about his food. Okay, so W9. And again, we're going to try to go with the grain of the hair. And we're just going to extend a little bit further past where that 100 ended off. Now, the thing with black hair is that it's really hard to try to get that shadow, you know, that really glossy highlight in there where the sun would hit it. I usually tend to go too far on my black hair and then it ends up like basically with no shadow. So it's just a matter of playing around with it. It's only paper and pens. It's not the end of the world. I always say this, it's not the Hunger Games. Nobody's gonna die today. W7. Ooh, my cap fell over. W7. And again, going with the grain of the hair. And it makes this nice little gradient start to appear. I'm being all quiet and concentrating. It's still snowing here. Even though it's too warm for it to really stick, we still have little snow flurries. All right, now we're gonna go to W5. I know that was a complete non sequitur, don't mind me. You guys know I'm completely random, but it is still snowing here. Now see how I've left some little tinges of white? That's where I go in with my W3 and just kind of, black hair is not gonna have a, you know, like a stark white highlight, but it is gonna have considerably lighter. And so I try to go in just enough to not blend all those hair streaks together. So there's our little raven-haired prince. Now, I feel like blue. He's gonna have a blue cape and a blue hat, I think. What do you think? I think blue will look good next to the... Should we do blue or green for his cape and hat? Blue or green? As you do layers of gray, are you coloring over the color before done and bringing a new color down for the... Yeah, I start, so if I were to stack the pens, so like this is my darkest color, right? So then my next color would, see where the gray is? See how I go up into it? And then my next color, I would do the same thing. Oops. If I turn the pen the proper direction, I would go back into this one and then, but bring it down further. And then my next one, I would go back into this one, but bring it down further. So I'm constantly just stacking them down further and further and further, but still going over so that it's seamless. Cause you don't wanna, if you go all the way back into this part of it, then you will end up washing it out, and so you won't have any hair texture left on that part of it. Does that make sense? Does that, I hope, make sense? Okay, would you guys like a blue cape or a green cape? Blue cape or green? I have like a kind of a lime green color set out, or I have kind of like a denim blue color set out. What do you feel like? Green. Carrie likes green. Michelle likes blue. We have one vote blue. 2 votes blue. Amy says blue. Anybody else? 3 votes. Going once, going twice. Blue. All right, the boss says blue. That's how we gotta go. Okay. I'm using a very unimaginative blue blend, in that I am going with an entire color family. So the color family I'm using, B99, 97, 95, 93, 91. I love this as like a denim color because it's kind of a darker blue. It's, Carrie, we'll do green on like the pants or the shirt, okay? It's kind of like a denim blue color. It's a little bit darker of a blue, a little bit more dull. It's not quite so bright, not quite so Crayola blue. So I do love this blue blend, and I hope that you will like it too. I also chose it because I know a lot of people, when you're new to buying Copic markers, it's hard to go outside of the, Dawn does, doesn't she, Kelly? When you're new to buying Copic markers, you tend to try to stay inside of the color families, and it's hard to go around and bounce around into different color families and stuff. So I totally get you on that, and that's part of why I chose this blend. So we're gonna start with B99. I feel like I'm calling bingo with that. B99, B99. Okay, so we're gonna find where all of the shadows were, or are, or whatever. My English is fabulous. Okay, so I think this is part of his cape. And down here. And down here. Little shadow where it folds over upon itself. There's a little shadow that you can see behind him there. And then this part, his collar, is going to be in shadow. Then I have just a little bit down the front where the cape folds over upon itself. Bring that down again here and again here. I'm going to add a little bit of blue down here just so that I can blend in with that black line. Okay, that is the B99. Now we have B97. And we're just going to go over the same thing. What we're going to do is we are going to go over where the end of that B99 hits and just extend it out a little bit further. So our point is that we're blending this but we're extending it a little bit further to do so that it's light. So we're blurring the line so that it's nice and smooth blend, and then we're leaving this lighter blue so that when we come back in with the next color that's even lighter, we'll be able to do the same thing. Okay. Just want to use nice smooth strokes. Are you guys talking without me? I do like to add B39 to this blend as well. I totally get you with that, because it adds that kind of value of that little bit of almost like a little teal base to it, and it really livens up this color blend a lot. So I do like that as well. All right, now same thing, we're just gonna, and I'm gonna connect these now because I feel like where his cape is laying upon itself, it's about that time where it'll connect. Now, I almost am using this ink to push that ink away. And that's the great thing about alcohol inks, is you can kind of manipulate them a little bit to how you want to use them. So they are really great at pushing into each other. Dawn, your sister is commenting on the wrong thing. You gotta tell her to get on the video. She's commenting on the restaurant thing and not commenting on the video. Alright, so same thing here as I start coloring where it's lightest, and then I push back into those other colors. To me, just the way my coloring style works, the first two colors, the darker colors, I layer upon each other to build that base, and then I use this, from then on out, I use these lighter markers to push the ink back. It's just how I achieve my blends. Everybody colors a little bit different, and that's okay, but it's just my method. It's just how I do it. I don't really know how or where I picked it up, but it's what works for me. So I know, I'm pretty sure, Amy, you color completely different than I do. You achieve your blends like in a way different method. I'm pretty sure. I've had a lot of people tell me I color very uniquely. And there you go, Kelly. Tell her to get over here. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my B99 again. We're going to do his little hat. And so again, you will see that I take with my darkest colors, I'm going to lay this in as smoothly as I can into where I think the shadows will be. And then when I go in with my next color, his hat has a little indent there. When I go in with my next color, I layer this. Me too, Amy, I color the same way. Oh, did I miss something? Yeah, Amy, we should. I tend to work light to dark and back down. Yeah, see, I have never really properly seen that. Okay, and so I put this second color right on top of where that first color ends. And then I extend it out just a little bit so that it creates that gradient. But then, like I said, when I go in with my next color, I start coloring to where I push the ink back on itself in order to lighten that blend. I find that if I don't do it that way, I end up oversaturating my paper. I color weird, I know, but I do this to show you guys that in all honesty, you can color whatever way you want. I in no way am advocating for somebody to robot the way I color. I'm just saying try different methods, because the more you try, the more different ways you try, the more you'll figure out what works for you and how to achieve, you know, those looks that you're looking for lack of a better term. There's his little blue hat. Now we gotta do the brim of it. So back to my B99. This part would be in shadow. His hair is gonna leave a shadow on it as well. There must be an animal on TV. We have one dog, Gizmo, that watches TV, and we have another dog, Archie, that's like just almost brain dead. He has no idea what's going on. B97. And again, I'm just extending these out. And I like to go right along the edge because I know the edge of his hat will be, you know, kind of turned under. So I do a nice smooth line across there. And there we go, B97. Now we go with B95. And again, I push the ink back upon itself to achieve my smooth blend. It works for me. It may not work for others, but it works for me. Okay. You guys are so quiet. Carrie, sing a song or something. Okay. There we go. And B91 right into that highlight to smooth it out. There's his little hat. All right. Concentrating on my technique. It's a thing. It's completely a thing. Okay. Thanks, Kelly. Had to get a sip of coffee. Now, we are going to move on. I'm going to do his boots. Well, should I do his boots? Yeah, let's do his boots. Okay. I jump all over my picture when I color. I know some people are very methodical going like from the top to the bottom. I tend to not do that. I tend to try to do like the dark stuff first and then go get lighter and lighter and lighter. So for his boots, I'm actually going to jump quite a bit through a color spectrum. And since they're so tiny, I'm only going to use 3 pens. So I'm going to use E79, E74, and E71. Now these are very, very, very far apart color-wise. You can even just see in the caps. But they are extremely far apart color-wise. The reason I do this in his boots is there's definitely going to be a shadow. And there's definitely going to be a highlight. Then this is going to be the true color of what his boot actually is. Oh, Elaine, how are you? You are watching with sound muted as watching TV before bedtime. Aw. Well, hi, Elaine. All right, so I'm going to go in and start coloring his boots with the darkest color. And granted, this boot is just going to be dark because it's that little tiny spot and it's all completely in shadow. Yeah, I do skin first and then hair, and then I go through darkest to lightest. The hair is even worse for you. All right, so this is where the cuff of his boot folds over. So there's going to be shadow. I like to put a little bit of shadow down on the sole because I feel like those are darker. This has a crease, and then where his tunic comes over the top has a little bit of a crease, or a little bit of a shadow too. Now I'm going to go into E74 and just go over where those lines were. It's best to do this quickly while the ink is still very, very, very wet. If he had two shoes, I would only do one at a time because you want to achieve that smooth blend on markers that are very far away from each other in color. This is E71. So you want to work while they're still wet so that you can kind of blend them or mix them together. And same thing, I just push the ink back upon itself and it kind of gives you that, you know, tattered kind of look because it's leather, so you want it to have a little bit of texture, right? Just agree with me. Say, yep, that's right, Jamie. His belt right here, I'm also going to do with these browns. And E74. And E71. All right. I hope that am I staying in the screen? Can you guys see all of this better this time? I know the last time my hand was in the way because of the camera angle and stuff, so I'm just trying to play with different angles to make it better for you guys. Okay, now we're gonna go for green. I like to use a lime green. I don't know why, it's just my thing. He's going to end up having brown gloves on, which is fine, but I want to do his tunic first. Sorry, was thinking to myself. Okay, so here is my green, my lime green blend. Yes, I only have 4 in here. Sometimes I add the YG23 in as well, like right here. But 23 and 25 are fairly close to the same. And since his tunic is so small, I'm gonna leave it out. So YG67 is my shadow color. YG09, YG25, and YG00. This is going to be my lime green blend. All right. Sorry, I was looking, I have a whole bunch of messages popped up on my screen all at one time. Wanted to make sure that, you know, it wasn't something like crazy important. All right, so we're gonna start with the YG67. Now, this is going to be in shadow back here because this is the back of his, well, the front of his tunic, but it's underneath his cloak and it's underneath his scarf. This is his sleeve. It's going to be underneath his glove here. And it's also going to be in shadow from his cloak there, or cape, or whatever you want to call it. His little scarf is going to leave a shadow, and his arm is also going to leave a shadow. Then, again, we're going to follow his cape here. His belt. There. There we go. Oh, wait. And his arm over here. Sometimes I color his hands as just hands. Sometimes I color them in gloves. So just as an FYI, I do color them both ways. That's the fun thing about stamping, is a lot of it is open to interpretation. Now this green, I'm essentially just going over that dark green, and again just extending it out that ever so slightly into its own so that I have somewhere to go with my blending. And see how it makes it considerably brighter but still has that shadow. Okay, now this is my YG25. I'm gonna do the same thing, but you see how small this tunic is. It's already, you know, starting to close in, that I don't have a whole lot of room to blend with. All right. Whoa, threw my marker at you guys. And then I have YG00. And this is a very, very yellow, very little green to it. But I like to add it over the top because it just adds that kind of limey element to it. And I love that color of green. Super fun. All right, I'm gonna make his tights, his leggings, if you will, his leggings and his gloves, a lighter color of brown, just to add some depth and dimensions to the whole thing. We don't want everything to be the same kind of monotone color. That's not what we're going for today. So we are gonna go with E37, E55, E33, and E31. I can get like 6 colors in there if I really try. So I'm going to use this color blend for his little leggings and his little gloves. The key is just to use the very, 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 very tip of your brush. Okay? You don't want to put a whole... His LuLaRoes. He's wearing LuLaRoe leggings. I don't know that I've ever seen brown LuLaRoe leggings. That might be scary. All right, so again, I'm using this to mark where my cast shadows are gonna be. And I'm just gonna do his leggings first, and then I will do his gloves. So, that was E37. We're moving to E35. It is. These guys do have very, very tiny spaces to color, but they're just so darn cute. That was E33, and now we're going to go into E31. And to give you an idea, a lot of people actually use E31 in their skin blends. So, you know, it is a very, very, very light color. I mean, it's very pale. But see how those different values of brown really add? Tie-dye them. No, don't think I could do that in that small of a space. I could try. Okay, so now we're gonna go for his gloves. And I know some people like, you know, this is the cuff of his shirt and stuff, but I like to do things a little bit different every now and again. And a lot of times these guys wore riding gloves, so we're gonna pretend that these are riding gloves today. And riding gloves always have a big cuff on them. So that's where we're going with it. E35. And I'm just adding the shadows where I think there would be shadows or where I think there would be wear on his gloves. And just, like I said, it's not rocket science, and the marker police are not going to come get you. It's not the Hunger Games. Nobody's going to die today. E33. And E31. Now, sometimes when I color something this small and it washes out where the shadow is, I will go back in and I will add a bit of a shadow just for more definition so that you can tell what's going on. Because sometimes it does wash out the shadow a little bit. Especially in these teeny tiny places. And then I'm going to jump to my E33 and blend that a little bit so it's not a harsh line. So I'm leaving out a couple of my colors in this blend just because I don't want to wash them out, but I did already lay that base for them. This is my E31 just to make sure that my highlight's still there. But I did already lay that base for them so you can see that through the layers of color. All right. Now you will see his little scarf right here, and it's very, 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 very white. I'm going to go in with my W1 and my W0 and make it so it's not quite so white, because if you leave it white like that, it's going to look like it'll draw your eye to it. I use the Copic Express It paper. If you leave this really, really white like this, it will draw your eye to it and it will kind of throw your card off. So, although I believe that he probably does his laundry or that he has a servant to do his laundry, I just want to make sure that this isn't quite so stark white and that it's a little bit off white so it doesn't go crazy on you. All right. So, here's our little dude, all colored up. What do you guys think? Isn't he super cute? He's so cute. Do you guys want to do the princess? Or are you guys done after an hour of coloring? It's totally up to you. He's so handsome. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Michelle. You guys thought the same on that one. Oh, man, that's too funny. I can color the princess if you guys want to, or if you're done, we can be done. It's totally up to y'all. I'm just coloring while I wait for an answer. I mean, why not? She's here, so. I've got you on my desk with another hour to kill, so you vote for princess. Go for the princess. All right, we're going for the princess then. So, E04. I'm using the exact same blends that we did before. And we're going to go for the sweet little princess. She's going to be fun, I can tell. I think she needs to be wearing like pink or purple. What do you guys think? Ooh, she could wear a lime green dress to match his little tunic. That could be fun. What color do you guys want to put on her? You guys get to be the fashion consultants today. I will say I'm not a big fan of these bullet nibs for the Copic markers, but I do like them on this, using them on the skin. I don't like them in any other instance. I don't like them for clothing. I don't like them. Has anybody else used them? Purple is a nice complement to green, yes. I think a lime green, pink and fuchsia. I think a lime green dress would be cute too. E11. Princesses always wear pink. She needs to be wearing something different. Although Kelly loves her pinks. Anyways, has anybody else tried the little bullet nibs for your Copics? Woohoo, I'm getting ready to see what happens when you don't take both caps off. Your marker tries to drop big spots of ink and ruin your coloring. And that's just not nice. I don't have a Nuvo glitter pen. Green dress, and she can be Fiona from Shrek. Yeah, that's right. Too funny. Anyways, so the bullet nibs, I think they're cool for the shadows of the skin tones, but other than that, I really have not found an instance in where I prefer them over my brush nibs. You just have so much more flexibility in your brush nibs, and so much more control, because they come to a finer tip, a finer point. So that's why I like my brush nibs way better. Just the super brush. Is this the super brush, Amy? Are these what they come with? Super brushes? Or is super brush a different nib that you buy? Am I missing out, I guess is what I'm saying. I could be missing out on something good and not even know it. Yep, sweet. So I'm not missing out on anything good. Thank goodness. I might have cried or something. I don't know how you work dark to light. Where do you know how to start your shadows? Amy, you must teach me your ways. Back to my EO4. And adding that second coat. See, you can see the difference in how rich his skin tone is compared to hers, because I did that second coat. Trying to keep my big old noggin out of the shot, because I'm like a paper hugger. Some people are paper hoarders. I'm a paper hugger. I like to get really close to my paper when I color. I get close to my nibs and I get close to my paper. E11. All right. Extending that out just a little. You guys are probably sick of hearing me say it. I got all quiet on you for a second. Hey, you know. Wonder if my boys are making dinner for me. If I stay in here and color long enough, do you think they will? Probably not. It's a nice thought though, right? We'll see, we'll see. I think I need to make a trip down to your place so you can teach me how all of this video stuff works. Come on down, baby. Come on down. Oh my gosh. We would have way too much fun. Way too much fun. You could try out these bullet nibs. See what you thought of them, Amy. I'm curious because I don't know very many colorists that have got them, and I know Copic released them thinking they were going to be like the next big thing. But my thing with them is it kind of makes your Copic marker into a Spectrum Noir marker. And that's not a thing. Amy, talk about Kelly. We can talk about Kelly. Michelle, where are you? We can talk about Kelly. Her internet's busted. Quick. So has everybody seen the rainbow challenge that we have going right now? Oh my gosh, there's some really cute stuff going on with the rainbow challenge. And then we have the ATC swap going, getting ready to go. I will tell you on the girls, this is R20 that I'm using, and I like to add a little bit of pink to their cheeks because I feel like she's probably blushing. He's all down on his knee proposing to her. And so I use my R20 to give her a little bit of pink in her cheeks. And then I just sort of blot the edges with my E000 so that it's not like a perfect circle on her cheek. I know, right, Michelle? And I will show you like the back of my images. I straight color through my paper. Like, it happens. It's a thing. It's a thing. All right, so now we gotta color her arms and her hands. Do all of you guys, does the back of your paper look that way? Michelle, when you color, does your paper look that way? I know that mine does. Always, always, always. I don't know if it's because I'm so heavy-handed or what, but my paper always looks that way when I'm done coloring. Ooh, Carrie, I'm headed over for pizza. What kind of pizza we having, girl? I'm kind of craving pizza lately. I don't know why. I'm not really like a huge... I mean, pizza's good, don't get me wrong. But I'm always more in the mood for Mexican food, so it's weird that I'm craving pizza. Good, Kelly, yours is always. That's how you're know you're doing it right. I learned that if you flip the paper over and can't tell what the image is from the other side, back you go. Yay, Amy, that makes me feel better. I'm glad that other people do, because I've been with a few colorists that, you know, they color and there's not hardly anything on the back of their paper, and I'm like, wow, am I doing something wrong, or am I just that heavy-handed, or what the heck? So, all right, there's her little armies. Okay, did we decide, are we doing green? Are we doing green? Are we doing blue? Are we doing pink? That is what they told me at a Copic class. You need to see the image on back. Outstanding. Majorly outstanding. Fiona! All right, we'll go green. It's not easy being green. Start singing Kermit the Frog to you. All right. I think we're going to do her hair first. And I'm going to use this. Actually, let's see. What do I want to use for her hair? Shall we? Let's pull out this color chart and see what we want to use. Let me pull it out of here because it's very... All right. So I want to go with like E79 for my shadow. And then I want to make it a little bit more rich, so we're going to go E29, which hopefully my E29 isn't super sticky. Then we'll go E39. Where is my E39? There it is. Ooh, there it is. Then we're going to jump over here. I'm missing E17. It's on its way to me, so we're going to use E15 and 13. E15 and 13. So you guys see how I chose that? I went with a darker shadow color, and then I just used this and connected the dots and found, you know, my lighter colors. Let's see. I haven't colored with my Copics for a couple of years. Nope, they should be fine. They should be fine. Yep, even without use. With use, without use, they should be fine. Yeah. Pull those puppies out, girl. Let's color. So I'm going to start with my E79, and again, I'm going to go into my shadow areas and wherever I think there's going to be shadow. But the most important part is going along with the way that the hair would flow. So you want to angle your little brush strokes with the direction that the hair would flow. Like that. And then so this is in front of this, which is in front of this, which is in front of this. And it's all behind her little headband. So that's going to make things a little bit difficult, but that's okay. We're going to go for it. We're going to stick with going our flicks this way. And then I'm going to add some to show that there's shadow that way. Okay. And we're just trying to add a little bit of dimension so you can see that her hair, one little thing is on top of the other. And then the same thing as they stack up this way too. I don't know who did her hair. There we go. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the E29. E29. And I'm going to just do the exact same thing. I'm actually starting on this one because my E29 is a little bit sticky and I don't have a refill for it yet. So I'm going to take this one all the way back. I forgot that it was sticky or I wouldn't have used it. There is no remedy for a sticky marker other than refilling it. Right, Amy? Right, Michelle? Just gotta bite the bullet, refill that thing. It's so weird, I feel like I'm talking to myself, but that's okay because I make myself laugh too, so. This marker is really sticky. Can you see it? Bet you can see how sticky it is. I know I can. You gotta go. All right, bye, Carrie. This is E39. Yeah, I do need to probably clean that nib because I don't know that I've ever cleaned the nib on my E29. I probably actually won't clean it. I probably will just replace it. Okay, now at this point, I kind of start to come over the top because her hair will be, it's like curled away from the light. So at this point, I like to start bringing these together. Just personal preference. You don't have to. It just depends on what you like and what appeals to you. I do the same thing here because these are curled away from the light. There we go. Now I am going to go in with my E15. See if I can get it on screen for you guys. Move it over there. Okay, and just continuing, same thing, lots of little, the more space you leave in between your brush strokes, the more pieced out the hair is going to look, and that's a good thing. You kind of want that. You want to be able to identify individual strands. I've been talking too much. I think I'm getting hiccups. And then I will go in with my E13 and cover those white highlights. And I don't mind leaving a couple white highlights because sometimes, you know, the light where it hits is intense. And so that's okay. I just like to blend these a little bit together so that they're not quite so stark. And there's our little brunette princess. All right, now we are going to go for our Fiona dress. Are you ready? I feel like we're coloring her a lot faster. Maybe because I'm not explaining as much because I feel like I just explained it with the little prints. But here's our color blend again. So we have YG67, YG09, YG25, YG23, and YG00. A lot of the times in my green blends, I will add stuff just from the G category. But since I was going for more of a lime scenario, I went full Monty onto the YGs. So that's a thing. So I'm going to start with her headband just to warm up. Athletes warm up. Why shouldn't colorists warm up too, right? YG09. And this one I do completely cover. I go back completely because it's such a lighter, so much of a more green to it than the YG67, so I like to go back and add that green value to it. YG23. Oh my gosh, I love this line next to her dark hair. Not gonna lie. And I just add this where the highlight's gonna be. All right, Now we're gonna go into doing her dress. So we're gonna start with her sleeve. And then I think I will do the bodice of her dress as well, because they are really little spots. I feel like my boys are being very noisy. Can you guys hear them? This is YG09. And again, I'm just going over that darker green, adding this bright to it, but still letting it be its shadow. You guys are so quiet. Stop being so quiet. You make me nervous. I feel like I'm boring you to tears. All right. So the middle color of whatever you're using, whatever blend you're using, the middle color is going to be what your the true color of the garment is, whether it's, you know, skin or clothes or whatever. So the darker color is always going to be your shadow, the lightest color is going to be your highlight, and that middle color is going to be the true value of what, you know, what color it is that you're coloring. So if you're wondering like how I choose my color blends and stuff, is a lot of the times I'll start with that middle color and I'll look at that middle color, like my YG 25 or 23 in this blend. And I will look at that color and see, you know, what it is, you know, what the true color of the garment is that I'm trying to color. And then I will pick my shadow colors and my highlight colors from there, if that makes sense. I love this lime. I'm happy we did lime. I think all of our snow is starting to melt now. Hooray! I can hear the water though running off the roof like crazy, because outside of my window is the gutter, the downspout, so I can hear it. Picking up their dog. Yeah, you pick the middle color first too, yeah. I do that a lot because I'm like, ooh, okay, so what color do I really want this dress to be? And so that's why I have this. This is like what I really want the dress to be. So you see that it kind of comes off this color, even though I have a lot darker and a lot lighter in there. It definitely comes off with that color. All right, so we're going back to the dark for the YG67. We're going to come in here and find where our shadows are. So where the dress folds back upon itself, where this little, I don't even know what it's called, where this little piece puts a shadow on it. And I feel like this piece is behind that piece. So we're gonna add shadow there. I feel like this piece is in front. This big piece is in front. Oops, I just marked it. And then this piece is behind it. And then this piece is behind that. All right. Now we're gonna use YG09. And I'm gonna go back over this stuff. And I am gonna add just a tiny bit to the very edges of this piece that's in front, because I want it to look like it's rounded, like that. So that's why I'm adding a little bit to it. Amy, when you come visit me, you're going to have to bring your clippers and clip my puppies. All right, YG25. Is that a thing? Can we make that happen? All right. Now her dress is really taking shape here. All right, when I come back in again with this, what the true color of the dress is I do go along that line, that artist drawn line there, because, you know, the material would fold back up upon itself, and that would be, you know, away from the sunlight, just like I said, like it's rounded. So I do usually do that. Now I'm going to go in this YG00. This is where I smooth these out. Sometimes in between here, you see how much lighter this is I will do a tip-to-tip blend. And so I will take my lighter marker and I will color on my darker marker, and I'll add that kind of middle tone in there so it's not quite so much of a line. I love tip-to-tip blending because it adds infinite markers to your collection. And then sometimes I will also go in with my my 0, which is my colorless blender, and I will add a teeny bit back into that highlight, just one line where the extreme highlight would be. Just adds a little bit of dimension. There we go. I feel like her earrings would probably also match. So we're gonna color those in. All right, there's our little princess all colored up in green. There she is. All right, so there's our dashing little couple. It's a great way to clean a dirty cap too. Really? You're so funny, Amy. Oh my goodness. So see that little bit of shine in her hair? That's what I'm talking about with the sticky marker. That's my R29, and why I keep saying it's sticky, because you can see a little bit of buildup. So, I mean, when you put it on your card and stuff, you're really not going to notice that much unless you're like, you know, a total colorist and you can see that little bit of buildup. But that's what we mean by a sticky marker. And see how the black hair doesn't do that? Because those markers are not sticky. That one is. Catch the light with it. So, there you go. There's our little kid. She's an emerald beauty, right? Cuties, little cuties. All right. So, CC Designs, these little wonderful little stamp sets are in the store right now. Our Copics are for sale, on sale, all that good stuff. If you buy 6, you get the 7th for free. We also have currently going on, I'll give you a little sneak peek, we have an ATC swap happening. So here's a couple of the ATCs that I started making, the artist trading cards. Here's little ATCs that I'm making for our ATC swap. So super fun. That is going on right now. You can sign up for it. The dates for it are, I gotta look at my calendar that's underneath this. The cutoff date for signing up is on the 7th, and I have to have the ATCs to me by the 21st. So these are our cute little ATCs, and we would love for you to join in. So if you scroll down, you can read the post on those and what's going on with those. And stay tuned. We got lots of fun stuff coming up this week. We have a new challenge going on right now. It's a rainbow challenge. So you can use anything from the store and join in the rainbow challenge. And thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope that you have a happy Monday. And I will see you all later. Toodles!